everyone. Welcome to the second season of Crypto with English. First episode, and we are being joined again with a former guest, Paulina Bialik. She's the CEO of Frosty Whale, and this is a platform where fans and influencers can build meaningful relationships. So, maybe starting at the top, what does a meaningful relationship mean in Web3?
So for me, not even in Web3, but actually a meaningful relationship is a two-sided relationship. So
Sure.
especially in this influencer fund space, very often those relationships are one-sided. So
Sure.
fans love the influencer, demonstrate their love, but the influencer knows nothing about the fan. So it's like very much one-sided relationship. On our platform, those relationships are two-sided. So not only fans can demonstrate their love, but they can actually receive love.
Sure. So I guess when you use the term receive love, what does that mean in this context?
Yeah, sure. So like we keep talking about like love, but this is sort of like abbreviation of all the feelings behind it. So
Sure.
in this context, love means attention,
Sure.
recognition, acknowledgement, appreciation, connection.
Right. Yeah. So in this context, if you wanted to show love to, let's say, an influencer, somebody that you follow or somebody that you admire, would somebody, let's say hypothetically, if it's me, if I was to go on Frosty Whale and say, listen, I'm a huge fan of Paulina Bialik. I want to show love, so to say. Would I essentially be buying a NFT and essentially sending that your way?
Yes. So from the fan perspective, if they want to demonstrate love, for example, on our platform, we have auctions. So fans can win the auction, for example, or can buy the NFTs in direct sales.
Sure. Sure. So does Frosty Whale get a percentage of that? So I guess in the whole concept or the whole cycle, where does the influencer make money? Where does Frosty Whale make money? And what value then, I guess, does the fan, I guess? I'm assuming the fan would get the collectible, which is some sort of digital art NFT. So I guess the other two parts I'm particularly curious about.
Yes, sure. So on our platform, 80% for influencers, 20% is our commission. But for the fans, yes, they get the collectible, but also all those feelings that they are striving for, which is recognition, attention, acknowledgement. So this is very often more important for them than the NFT. NFT is sort of like a currency on our platform.
Sure.
So this is the way of monetization, but this is not necessarily the end and only product that fans are getting out of it.
Yeah. There's this old quote that says, you should never get to know your heroes. So, in this context, I wonder, how can a fan and an influencer have a healthy relationship? That it's meaningful, platonic, and things like that.
First of all, those relationships are virtual. So
Sure.
in this context, they will never get as close as in the physical relationship. There will be
Sure.
always sort of distance. So they will never get to know each other that well. And also it depends on the fans and the influencers how far they want to go in this relationship. This can be friendship, but doesn't even have to be that close friendship. But can be even girlfriend boyfriend like experience if they want.
Sure. Sure.
The whole spectrum of different relationships.
Right. Absolutely. So fan connections are monetized throughout this process, correct?
Correct.
So if somebody who's never, been in tech or they're not familiar with either metaverse or NFTs or crypto, how would you explain that to somebody? Are you still there? Hi, you're still there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, hi, can you hear me? You hear me?
Yes, I think that I'm having connection issues. Do you
No
mind if I
problem.
change the internet? Continue.
Sure. Sure, no problem. You need to duck out for 1 second? Okay. Well, I guess this could be a opportunity to have a monologue as far as Web3 platforms and building relationships with celebrities and influencers if you're a fan. I wonder, I wonder how that can go on I guess you could say on a personal level. You know, what boundaries would need to be established, for instance? Does owning more collectibles of a certain celebrity, does that give you more of a say as far as content they put out to their audience? Or even, you know, products and merch that come out? I think it does bring up a few interesting questions to say the least. You know, in the era of, you know, okay, I think we are about to get Paulina back on.
Sorry for
And
that.
are you? No problem. Technical difficulties. It happens all the time. So yes, you know, I guess I was saying earlier, um, this is a relatively new thing in society nowadays, where a fan can directly reach out to a celebrity or influencer, and it's not in the traditional fan mail that you send in. It's digital, it's instant, and often a decent amount of money is associated, you know, with this. So, could you talk a little bit about the collectibles and the influencers? Like, talk about the value of that, and you know how fans feel about it, and what it even means for influencers.
Yes, so for the fans, especially this connection is the most important.
All right, bear with us 1 second. I think we are you back?
Yes, but
All
actually,
right.
Adam, I changed the internet, so
Oh, okay. No
on my
problem.
side. Are you sure that this is on my side?
Everything on this end looks okay so far, but I'll let you know if it starts, you know, glitching out or or something like that. So, yeah. What you know, talk to me about collectibles. You know, the significance of collecting, let's say, a assortment of digital photos or digital, you could say, tokens of a celebrity. Why that's important nowadays.
For the fans, it's very important from the perspective of ownership because they are becoming the sole owners of something that was created by their favorite influencer. Created by their favorite influencer, one of a kind, also important for the influencer themselves. So that's why this holds value for the fans because now they can own something like that. And this is a very similar mechanism that we've seen in the physical world. When you take a look
Right.
at the auctions of physical assets and themselves the winners. So it's not.
Hello. Did we lose you again? Are you still here? I think only, hold on. I think she's back. Okay, are you back?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay. As you were saying.
Yeah, so for the fans, it's very important from the connection point of view.
Sure.
So they enjoy the ownership of that. The fact that they are the sole owners of this unique digital asset and everybody knows, not only the influencer, but the whole community, that they won the auction, that they own it now. So this is something that wasn't possible in the virtual world before,
Sure.
but what's possible now with the NFT technology. So before, an influencer had to organize an auction of a physical asset, something
Sure.
unique but physical. Now we have originality in the digital world. So no need to produce something physical, especially
Sure.
for influencers who are online celebrities.
Sure.
So they produce digital content, and now this content can be auctioned, can be owned.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you've heard the age-old argument in Web3, or at least people interested in Web3. One might say, well, listen, why don't I just take a snapshot, save a JPEG instead of buying a digital collectible? Like, what would your answer be to that?
Okay, so we got a lot of questions like that, especially at the very beginning,
Sure.
because the understanding of the NFTs and blockchain, the whole technology behind it, is very low in this industry, influencer fan industry. But the thing is that on our platforms, influencers mainly run auctions. So if you do the auction, so basically you announce the auction, people
Right.
are bidding in the auction, they are fighting, someone is winning the auction, then the influencer is shouting out, "Oh, thank you so much for winning the auction," is establishing this closer connection through the chats, maybe with the winner. So this is this sort of like experience that comes together with the auction, with winning the auction, with the
Sure.
closer connection later, that you are buying together with the NFT. Okay, you can do the screenshot, but you will not get any of those emotions that I just mentioned.
Sure. And has there ever been a story of a influencer and a fan falling in love? I don't make assumptions about anything. I'm just curious if there's ever been something like that, or if you've heard of anything.
So on our platform, so recently one influencer showed us the messages that he exchanged with the fan, and from the fan side there was a lot of "Oh, I love you, I will always love you," like
Sure.
hearts has hearts. Maybe from the influencer side it wasn't that deep and that far,
Right.
but yeah, so like we didn't have a clear case that both sides fell in
Right.
love,
Sure.
yeah, but very very nice messages has been exchanged. Have been exchanged.
Sure. And for Frosty Whale, the official love token, so that is the currency on your platform. Is that correct?
It's just the wording that we use. That's why we
Sure.
called it love token,
Sure.
because of all the feelings and emotions that are that you are receiving when you are
Sure.
buying non-fungible token. So yeah, so this is the phrase that we are using, but this is not a token in the sense of tokens, coins, etc.
Sure. So for the underlying technology, what does Frosty Whale use? Is it Ethereum based, or is it something else?
Polygon. So
Okay.
we use Polygon blockchain.
Okay. And this is a very interesting concept. It's quite novel. So where did the idea for Frosty Whale come from originally?
So the idea, the problem that we are solving is that the most devoted fans currently cannot form any meaningful relationships with their influencers. The
Sure.
only one type of relationships that can be purchased online are sex-based relationships. So
Sure.
this is where the idea came from, because we believe that what fans want more than sex is love. So that's why on our platform they can buy love,
Sure.
love-based relationships. And on the other hand, we also wanted to solve a problem for the influencers who currently are struggling to make money. 99% of mid-tier influencers earn peanuts, cannot make a living from influencing, and this is what we wanted to change.
Sure, absolutely. And your platform, your company is based in Singapore. So, what demographic is Frosty Whale most popular with? Is it mostly localized in Southeast Asia, or is it gaining traction in Europe or United States? Like, how is it looking right
Our goal was to launch this platform first in Southeast Asia because we see huge potential for this kind of business in this particular region. For example, in Southeast Asia, there are almost 700 million people.
now? Sure.
And if you were about to guess how many of them are Gen Z plus millennials, how many percent?
Oh,
It's
out of
almost
seven.
60%. It's 57%.
Oh, wow.
So if you compare,
Very
for
young
example,
population.
very young population, if you compare it to the US, in US there is
Sure.
4%. So it's less and the population
It's
is
a big
smaller.
difference.
So that's why we've seen a huge potential in Southeast Asia. Moreover, those countries are still developing countries. The majority of them, Thailand, Vietnam. In developing countries, people are hungry and people are very motivated to achieve success. So when we work with even young people, they have a huge motivation. For example, in Europe, people my age usually don't have to help their parents. In Southeast Asia,
Sure.
it's different. Young people have to help their parents, so that's why they are trying to make money. They're trying to earn money. So that's why the influencers that we are working with currently they cannot make money from influencing. So that's why
Right.
they are very motivated about it and
Sure.
very motivated to start making money, to build a new revenue stream.
Right.
So those are yeah, just maybe two advantages for Southeast Asia. But another one can be number of social media users, 500 million, and this is the third region in the world, just after East Asia and South Asia. The fourth place will go to North America. So
Right.
a lot of social media users, very high engagement rate. Entertainment industry is booming, gaming, streaming. So all those factors cause that we see a huge potential here, and this is our first region that we are targeting.
Yeah, and I think by the numbers and the demographics, that makes sense, especially the very high proportion of, you could say, Gen Z, millennial, population in Southeast Asia, which, I mean, it's quite interesting. So when it comes to pursuing meaningful relationships, I looked on Frosty Whale. You have a function or a tool called Frosty Chat. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So, how to establish a closer relationship? So you had to have some sort of like a conversation, chats, where fans and
Hold on one second. I think Paulina is back. Yes, as you were saying.
so on Frosty Chats, fans and influencers can communicate directly. So how does this work? So
Right.
usually if there is an auction or direct sales, an influencer will see who are the top spenders, the high potential fans, and will establish closer relationship with them. So for example, we'll text them, oh, thank you so much for your support, or congratulations on winning the auction. And
Sure.
they will start this sort of conversation, and it can go very far up to influencer and the fan. But the another function for Frosty chats that we are currently working on are AI-driven chats. So
Okay.
this is still case studies, but at the moment, influencers can train their AI, which in the future will be able to help them manage relationships with the fans, because every influencer has limited time, so they cannot have countless relationships and they
Sure.
cannot manage them simultaneously. But with AI-driven chats, it will be
Right.
way easier. Scalability, strengthening relationships, effectively monetizing them. So this is what we are currently working on.
Sure. So I would imagine an influencer, probably even just the average one, may be getting messaged constantly throughout the day. So would this be like almost an AI bot to kind of, you could say, answer the questions and reply to people on time so they maintain that fan base effectively?
Actually, it's not.
Hello? Ladies and gentlemen, I think we may have lost her again. Bear with us one moment. All right, looks like we're back. Yes, you were saying.
So it's not like a bot. So the current technology already allows that those interactions are very personal, empathetic, emotional. So AI is trained to use influencers' chat logs.
Okay.
So it's learning based on the conversation that influencer had before with other fans. Then influencers have to talk to AI and correct the answers. So
Okay.
it's the whole process of training this, and AI, it definitely doesn't sound like a bot anymore.
Right. And I would imagine the more interactions, the more efficient the AI is going to be over time. And I would think it's probably hard to differentiate. Like, is this the tech talking, or is this the influencer themselves?
Yes, although on our platform, we don't fool people. I mean, it's clear that you are talking to AI. So as a fan, you are going to be informed that you are talking to AI, and
Sure.
it's not meant to be that we are just replacing influencers, not telling the fans that they are talking to AI. Even if
Right.
this is undistinguishable, still it will be clear that you are talking to the AI. Actually, on the other hand, currently fans don't know they are influencers. So
Okay.
the image they see in social media is very often different from how the influencer is personally, how behaves, in such chats. So if fan doesn't know the influencer, haven't talked to influencer before in such a private chat, then we'll never be able to get the difference between AI and the influencer. To find a difference, you would have to know the influencer very well,
Sure.
spend hours talking to them before, and then maybe you are able to say the difference. If you don't know influencer, then AI, is will be undistinguishable for you.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this is in many ways the future we are living in right now. Are there issues where female influencers receive like sexual harassment? Male ones, male ones as well. Like, do you have instances where fans are crossing boundaries and being inappropriate and harmful?
So far, we don't have those incidents, but our influencers, they are not OnlyFans influencers. So the expectation on our platform is slightly different. If they were okay with sex talks and selling adult content,
Sure.
then they maybe would be doing this on OnlyFans. If they are not,
Sure.
so this is sort of clear for the fans that for the influencer it's not okay. Usually fans don't go that far, and those relationships tend to be quite healthy. I mean, fans really care about the influencer. So
Right.
we have cases when guys, they treat a girl almost like she was
Okay.
their girlfriend. So they are so kind to her, and they take care about her care about her. They are asking how she's doing. If she has a problem, they will be very supportive, etc.
Right.
So those relationships are more like strong friendships.
Sure.
We haven't experienced harassment, but I guess that this might happen in the future. Yeah, so
Right.
so there is this sort of risk, but also on our platform, influencers are not forced to talking to the fans.
Sure.
So if an influencer doesn't want to talk, doesn't have to. They can only engage in conversations with the fans they want.
Right. So with Frosty Whale, for instance, if one of the influencers decided, hey, listen, I want to increase my numbers in fan base, why don't I just start putting out nudes or start putting out like brief clips? In that case, how would Frosty Whale, let's say, react to that kind of influencer?
So we can always block this content on our platform
Sure.
because this is not allowed. We have some restrictions on that. And on the other hand, I'm not sure if this is the way of increasing the fan base, but maybe on our
Sure.
platform, it's rather strengthening and monetizing the relationships with the fans, with the most devoted
Right.
fans. Who are your most devoted fans and the ones that are able to spend the most? Usually the fans that will know you before you started selling on our platform. So influencers already have devoted fans, and most probably those fans will be the top spenders, the buyers on the platform. Even if you post nudes, and yeah, I mean, not sure if this will really increase your following or
Sure.
interest on our platform and how this is currently structured. And yeah.
Right. Right. That's quite interesting. And, maybe for some more context, but it seems like a phenomenon. Is it something unique in Southeast Asia where a fan wants to have some sort of, deep emotional attachment as far as you could say getting to know somebody, apart from the physical thing? Like, is this kind of a local, phenomenon where it's like, listen, I admire, I really like this person. I want to just, buy their digital collectibles and show them that I'm a huge fan, but with kind of just keeping it within friendship. Is this is this unique over there? Is it
I'm not sure if this is unique to Asia, but it's very common that in social media, when you have an influencer, usually hundreds of fans or dozens of fans, depending
sure,
on the audience, will be trying to send the message, the personal message,
sure,
direct message to the influencer. Influencers don't reply. Then fans try commenting under the posts. So they are sort of
right,
looking for this attention and connection. It's pretty obvious on social media, but they are not getting this back because in social media, if you are an influencer and you are getting hundreds of messages,
right,
you are just not physically able to reply to all of them, and you don't know who are the most devoted fans. You don't know who are the fans that that really love you. And so on our platform, we are trying to segment the fan base. We are helping you to identify the high potential fans, the fans that want to pay for closer relationship with you. And this is the opportunity for you as an influencer to build a revenue stream, giving your most devoted fans what they want, which is a closer connection with you. And
right.
yeah, it is friendship, but again, not sure if this is specific for Asia.
Right. I didn't mean it
Imagine,
that way. I wonder if it's even more of a Gen Z type of thing to kind of be a digital fan essentially, and actively follow somebody, buy their content, buy their digital collectibles. So
I think that this is the feeling created by social media, actually, because if we follow someone every single day, we know so much about this influencer, we feel like this person was already sort of a friend, but actually this is one-sided relationship. So I
Right.
know almost like everything about you because you are posting Insta stories and live streaming or whatever all the time, and you know nothing about me. So this desire to get to know people better is built over the time. So over this interactions in social media that we have with influencers.
Sure.
Um, and yeah, I mean, that definitely some fans will want to go further than friendship, but there are a lot of fans that just want to show their love, just want to get back. Thank you for supporting me. You know, some small talk, and they are already super happy with that because they feel seen and they feel that their support is appreciated. Um, so yeah, so it doesn't have to go that far to make fans happy.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And for your platform, what makes it stand out, let's say, against Twitter or Instagram? Because listen, many influencers, celebrities can just, listen, open a Twitter account, open an Instagram account. And I think even now they have functionalities where you could, sign up for subscriptions and, other things are monetized. What do you feel stands out with your company versus those?
So on our platform, the relationship is one-on-one. So this is between one fan and influencer.
Right.
In many of those platforms, on like streaming platforms, the relationship is between the influencer and the community. So
Sure.
those are not one-on-one relationships that you can build. Okay, you can go for a subscription-based model on social media, but usually those subscriptions models don't enable influencers to generate that much money. Because why? For example, imagine that the subscription they set is $3. If you are targeting the mass market, you have to set the price that is not too high. That is sort of like people can afford. So then you are setting up the subscription $3, $5, maybe $10, and you are trying to get as many fans as possible to pay for this subscription. And
Right.
then you end up having, for example, 10, 20 fans who are maybe paying you. So you are generating $200, imagine, per month. Although I've seen pretty big influencers generating much less. And
Sure.
okay, so like you have $200 per month from those subscriptions, whereas on our platform, you run the auction and you can easily get $200 in just one auction. So
Okay.
um, the value that we are providing is higher for the fans in the sense that they are willing to spend much more than on the generic subscriptions that are tend to be for the mass market.
Okay. Now, I would imagine if you're a fan, you're using Frosty Whale, you have to have disposable income. So, is there like age range? Is there a demographic where you know this group of people tend to make up more of the fans? Has any info like that come up? Like, is it like mid 20s to early 30s that make up the fans, for instance, or is it younger or slightly older?
So the influencers that we collaborate with, our like target influencer persona will
Right.
be people that are around 25 years old,
Okay.
because they are at this age that they are looking for career opportunities. They are not kids anymore, so they have some sort of like responsibilities already. They graduated from schools and they're trying to develop their career, to make money, to start making money. So this is like a perfect fit for us, because then we come and we offer this opportunity to make money on our platform and build your career this way, influencing career this way. When it comes to funds, so for example, imagine that the influencer is 25 years old, around that
Sure.
age. On our platform, fans to be between 25 to like 35 years old will be the majority of the fans. So
Okay.
again, those are not that young people, like not teenagers usually.
Okay, that's that's quite interesting to say the least. So, what does Frosty Will have planned for the future? Like, what is the 6 month, 12 month, 2 year plan as far as business scaling it, maybe going into different markets? What does that look like?
In terms of scaling, definitely. So currently we are working on the Thai market. Um, and the next year will be other markets in Southeast Asia, Vietnam, and in the future East Asia. But in terms
Sure.
of product and what we are offering, so currently we are working on the AI-driven chats to enable every single influencer on our platform to train their AI.
Sure.
So this will be a huge upgrade, I believe. And the another thing that we are currently working on are virtual influencers, which we hugely believe in, because virtual influencers can manage countless relationships
Sure.
simultaneously, don't have any emotional barriers. So those
Sure.
are the advantages over the human influencers. On the other hand, this is a huge motivation for the human influencers that they have to start offering something more than they are doing currently in terms of relationships, because fans are looking for this connection, and with virtual influencers it will be way easier. With the human influencers, very often they don't understand it that connection is important, and they just don't care about the fans but are trying to make money from them. And I believe that this is a bit unfair, because actually you don't care about the fans, you've never replied to any message, but
Sure.
then on the other hand you are trying uh, you and giving you donations or subscribing to your content. So this is where we see the huge opportunity, because the virtual influencers will be sort of a motivator for the human influencers that they have to improve on this field of relationships that fans are looking for. And actually, it's already happening. For example, recently I've seen a documentary from China.
Okay.
Three women reported falling in love with their replicas. So replicas basically
Oh.
AI. So yeah, it's
Wow.
something like a virtual persona, maybe not an
Right. Right.
influencer. Yes, like people are falling in love because people feel lonely and are looking for
Sure.
this sort of connection. On the other hand, in the US, because you may say that this must be Asian thing, but in the US recently there was a case study when an influencer trained her AI, and thousands of fans sign up and spend thousands of hours in the first few days talking to the AI and talking about very personal things. So it also shows that there is huge desire among fans to get to know an influencer better, to connect with an influencer, to have this conversation at the end of the day. So it's not only purely about buying from the influencer, but getting something more, like getting this attention, recognition, connection that fans are striving for.
Sure. And is it possible to break it down into categories as far as types of influencers? Like, are there influencers that are more like motivational speakers? Are there influencers that are just models? Are there influencers who are just athletes and maybe they're posting some of their feats? Like, is
Yeah.
there like a pattern of like kind of like an archetype or like a category of each?
Yes, true. So actually, I love this question because this is super interesting. I believe that we like very often people understand influencers in just one way. When I say influencer, you most probably have in mind people who are promoting products, like doing product promotion, beauty products. Trying to collaborate with brands, etc. Very often we understand influencers like that. That these are influencers sort of like marketing tube.
Sure.
Or influencers are people who achieved something in the past and that's why they became famous. So this is, yeah, so like this is a traditional influencer, and this is This is how the vast majority of people understand an influencer. But recently, actually, I've checked how many influencers are there. And as we are focused on mid-tier influencers, they have between 50K to 500K followers. And there are 80 million people like that in the world. And this is new generation of influencers that is currently coming. So those are people that not necessarily did something those are not people that are necessarily good at doing something. So not necessarily have another career like popular singer, a musician, or a painter, or whatever. Very often they are just famous for being famous. So they gain following because maybe attractive, good looking, maybe nice personality. And this is the vast majority of influencers. So those are not people who have another career. They just have following in social media that they've gained because of how cool, how nice they are, and those are this new generation of influencers is actually the influencers that we're targeting. So not necessarily influencers that have other careers and are busy doing other things, achieving successes on other fields. Because if they do so, they don't have time to spend on talking to fans, engaging in those relationships. But there is a huge amount of influencers that are making peanuts, cannot monetize influencing, have to have another job that they don't enjoy, that they would like to quit and make influencing their full time, but they cannot monetize it. So this is where we come in, and we are enabling those people to make like Frosty Whale their full-time job, their career.
Right. And I'm curious about your opinion on this. Do you think artificial intelligence will make these relationships better or worse over time?
From what we can observe right now, it seems that it's making those relationships better because, for example, those women in China that fall in love with AI. And in this documentary, they were actually very happy because before they were lonely. So at least they had a chance to have someone, and they were talking about all the advantages of that they have someone to talk to every single day, that this AI will listen to them, that they don't feel lonely anymore. So I get it that this is definitely the advantage. Also in China, let's remember that there are millions of men that will never get a chance to get married because there's just not enough women. So in this case, if you are unable to find a partner in the real world, maybe you will have to find a partner in the virtual world. So I guess that at least, maybe this is not a perfect solution, but at least some sort of a solution. So here I see the advantages. AI-driven chats of human influencers. So when human influencers train their AI, here I also see the advantage because as humans, we have limited capacity. We cannot, engage with everyone all the time. And this can be a huge help for the influencers that now they can build relationships with a larger group of fans using their AI, training their AI. So here I see another advantage. AI is also better actually in analyzing, in collecting and utilizing data. So in all those conversations, AI can collect a lot of data and utilize this data to upsell unique digital assets, to upsell the NFTs, which can also help influencers to maximize income. So another advantage for the influencers. For the fans, advantages about like loneliness, building relationships. These advantages that I can think of, maybe this is sort of like a disadvantage for the human influencers, that I believe that those relationships will never be the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I kind of wonder when it comes to human relationships, if you're building like a relationship with an AI, would that be like infidelity or something like that? Like as these things get more and more advanced, I think the lines I think the lines with relationships, humans, robots, these are all going to get blurrier over time. It seems, right?
Yes, but recently we've been doing this research about that, and there have been books about human relationships that
Sure.
were released like 20 years ago, and humanity
Right.
was like we were already thinking about that, and then very popular movie Her about also like relationship with AI 10 years ago. So basically, we've been sort of like exploring this for a long time, but now technology really enables that.
Right.
So yeah, you might be thinking that like maybe the sort of relationships maybe it's not right, but it's like already happening. It's already happening. So it's not that only our company does that. This
Sure.
is the way the market is going.
Right. That is yeah, that's quite interesting. And from you could say, I guess you could say from the data from fans and even looking at the way influencers speak, do men seek a certain type of dialogue or in relationship that is very unique to, let's say, what a woman seeks as far as a relationship in a conversation with a influencer? Like, is there like a clear pattern as far as the things they talk about, or you could almost say the ability to share like problems or innermost either turmoil or things like that.
Yeah, so like we do not have access to all the
Sure,
conversations, so we are not reading all of them, but only the ones that influencers on our fans share with us.
sure,
But those messages, yeah, so it can be about sharing problems, but usually it's more about sharing some positive things.
okay,
So, some experiences. Oh, I've been here, I've done that. How do you like it? Etc. So this is yeah. So it's rather this type of conversation, and obviously they are thanking each other for support, like thank you for supporting me. So this
sure,
happens often, or I love you, I like talking
right,
to you. Like those are like some sort of like cute messages,
right,
but like so far I've never come across any conversation about sex or like going like heavily this way. I
right,
believe that maybe those two relationships are not that deep yet. That fans wouldn't be that brave to start talking to an influencer about such things,
sure,
especially that it seems like an influencer isn't open to that in the first place.
right. I would
So
imagine, yeah,
awkward, right? Like you could just like start talking about it, and influencer is not eager to continue to
right.
follow up.
And since your company's focus is Southeast Asia, is there one country you can pinpoint and say, this is going to be the biggest, you could almost say, user base in the future? Like, is it Vietnam, Thailand? Is it Indonesia? Like, is there one place where you can kind of zero in and say, this is going to be the next, you could say, um, customer, or this is kind of the untapped market, so to say.
I would say that each of those countries in Southeast Asia is sort of like an untapped market because there are many local solutions for each country. So, for example, some like local platforms in Thailand, some local platforms in Vietnam. But what
Sure,
influencers are looking for is something more global. So because usually they have following from different countries, also
sure,
from for example, from the US. And if the platform is that localized, that everything is the local language, there is no English language. So obviously those fans abroad, they are not engaging with you. If they are not engaging with you, like in the US,
sure,
spending like $200 is not as much as spending $200 in for the fun in the Philippines, right?
sure.
Or in Indonesia. So influencers definitely want to engage with their fans abroad, but many of those local solutions make it sort of impossible because they're like too localized. On the other hand, there are global solutions, platforms like OnlyFans or Patreon, but those
Sure.
companies have never been focused on Asia or like targeting Asia specifically. So that's
Sure.
why they don't have localization, which is again a problem because if you cannot change the language, if you cannot pay using local methods, it's making those platforms like very difficult to use for the local audience. So I believe that platform that is sort of global but with localization for each single country, I think that this can be a breakthrough, and we believe that this is the way to go. So I wouldn't say that there is just one country that we are targeting in Southeast Asia, because I
Sure.
believe that this region is about this is about the region. So it's not about single countries, but the region has a huge power. Region has a population almost 700 million people.
Right.
So yeah, so like one country will not be enough for us. But apart from Southeast Asia, we've been always thinking about East Asia. So this is
Right.
our end goal. Korea, Japan, definitely countries where virtual influencers will have huge potential, AI will have huge potential, and can address a lot of problems that are there. Like for example, loneliness in Japan.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So, what advice would you give to any future entrepreneur looking to do something, within, NFTs, blockchain, generally speaking, because it's still a widely misunderstood technology?
um, Definitely misunderstood, and in this crypto winter, I believe that this is even more difficult uh, to convince people that that this is basically the future. We still believe in blockchain. I believe that this is amazing technology, but I think that many people turn back, and I can see that.
Sure.
Investors, but also enthusiasts. Like before, everybody had on LinkedIn, oh, I'm like Web3, and now like these people they say, oh, like, but we are not in Web3 anymore. We are not doing this anymore. So I think that yeah, um, it was way better before, and people were much more enthusiastic about the NFTs, about like
Sure.
digital assets, the future of this technology than they are now. But I believe that this is still the way to go. So especially in our case, although we use blockchain technology, we are not selling blockchain in the first place because this is
Right.
just the technology that enabling us to do all those things that we are doing on the platform. So I think that this is also the way to go for entrepreneurs, that to capture the mass market, you have to find real usage for this technology. It shouldn't be just about, oh, we are selling the NFTs and we can do some trading speculation and maybe make
Right.
some money, because it's not, this value proposition is not enough.
Right.
Especially now in winter, nobody would be interested in that.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So, I guess, to wrap this up, these NFT collectibles, in many ways, it's kind of a way for both, influencers to, in many ways, feel like they belong in many ways to the fans, and the fans feel like they at least, have, you know, I think they at least belong in some way in the influencer's life as well. It seems there's some sort of, mutual benefit here.
Yes, definitely. Because if you are an influencer and you created something, and this video or photo, or whatever is very important for you, and now
Right.
your fan is owning this, so it's sort of like build this bond. It's sort of like building
Right.
this bond, like
Yes.
similar,
Yes.
yeah, like similar when you are buying a painting of a famous artist. So you feel closer to this artist because you are owning this painting that
Right.
you are the sole owner. So I think that this is similar psychological mechanism that
Right.
consciously or unconsciously is bringing this ownership, originality in digital world. So it's already building
Right.
the bond, and then you can strengthen this using chats and direct conversations.
Right. Excellent.
And
Well,
I
listen.
believe
Yes, please.
If I'm not sure if I answer this question, how are fan connections monetized? So maybe we can also talk a little bit about it, because
Sure.
this
Yeah.
question is
Yeah. Unpack
basically
it.
about how you can make
Yes.
money as an
Please.
influencer,
Right.
how you can, so like, the ways how we can have money. So I
Right.
believe that there are actually three ways how we can, or like the first way, the least obvious way, is like we can steal money from someone, right? But obviously this is not the way to go. The second option is that we can get money from someone. So we can beg for money. And begging for money, although, okay, so when I say like beg for money, get money from someone, so it's very much associated with people begging on the streets. But actually, in
Right.
media, in the digital world, it's also happening, because what, like some influencers, they are begging for donations on those platforms, and
Right.
I believe that this is actually not right, and that's why we do not offer donation, this donation feature on our platform. Because very often those influencers, they don't want to, like you are an influencer, you have 200,000 followers,
Right.
and you are asking your community to give you $200 for costume or like whatever you need. And I'm like, I feel that this is a bit unfair, because you have 200,000 followers. Those people are striving to connect with you. They are looking for some specific value, which you are
Right.
not getting, but then you want money from them. And at the end of the day, so I feel that this is like, okay, so you are getting money, but they are not getting what they are actually would like to get from you. So I
Right.
believe that this is, yeah, so this is like one-sided benefit.
Right.
And that's why the third way of having money is actually earning money. So this is what we are offering on our platform. How to earn money: you have to provide value, and this is what you are basically selling this value. On our platform, you are selling connection, you are selling attention, recognition, all those feelings, and you are providing value to your fans, and you are getting money in return. You are not getting money directly, because it would be like very difficult to price the connection, attention, conversation, whatever. So that's why we use digital assets. On our platform, fans are buying digital assets, and this is sort of like a currency. So I'm buying from you like this digital asset, and like you are giving me some attention, recognition, connection.
Right. And I wonder, do you think this opens the door where you can monetize specific interactions? So like, hey, listen, if you want a 10-minute conversation with me, this is the price. If you want a 30-minute conversation with me, this is the price. If you
Yeah,
want
I
2 hours, like, yeah.
I know what you mean, but actually, yeah, so that you can price the conversation, and for example, fans can pay you for a minute of, for example, $1 for a minute of conversation. I've seen this model before, but actually, again, we don't believe in this model, because
Sure.
look, there are actually two psychological mechanisms. So I believe that in our business, it's all about psychology. So first of all,
Sure.
when you are buying something from someone, and this is that specific, that I'm buying from you 10 minutes of your time,
Right.
so then it creates expectations on my side, because I
Sure.
paid for this. And for example, you went to the bathroom, you did something, like I didn't get the value that I was expecting to get, and I paid
Right.
for that. And then it feels like, fans might be unhappy, and it might cause some sort of like tension if you price it like that. In our case, oh, I'm buying like a digital asset from you, and you influencers, it's up to them. Like they can spend time talking to the fans, but fans don't have any expectations,
Right.
because they didn't pay for this message directly. Influencer isn't talking to them because they paid to an influencer for that. Uh, they bought, but it's that I'm paying for every single minute of your time. And as an influencer, I have
Sure.
to sit here. I don't feel like talking to you, but like you paid
Right.
like $10, and now I have to spend like 10 minutes doing this, although I don't
Right.
feel like. And then, I'm in a bad mood, and the fan is not happy, etc. So it's like very also similar mechanism when you go to like maybe a bit a bit strange example, but when you go to a street club, so very often, the girl is dancing or whatever, and fans will give her tips after the dance. So they do not pay in advance very often. So they do not have like any expectation, but they are tipping her after. And actually, this way, she will make much more money. Usually, this is the way to making more money. But also, very often, better feedback from the fans, because they weren't expecting anything. They didn't pay before. It wasn't priced before. They just gave money because they wanted to give money, because they find value in this sort of entertainment provided. So it just changes the dynamic. So in our case, influencer is providing some sort of value, and you can pay for that. But yeah, it's not that you are paying in advance and have some sort of like expectations.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I think this leaves a lot of, food for thought, as you could say, the future of human relationships, either with each other, with bots. I feel a lot of this is going to be one big gray area, uh, perhaps even sooner than later. So, I think what you're doing with Frosty Whale. Oh, hold on one second. Yes, hey, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is certainly some sort of graying area of human relationships with each other and with bots. So I think with what you're doing with Frosty Whale, this is in many ways a very, very experimental, unpredictable area of human nature, where it's gonna be anybody's guess as far as where these things lead. I mean, people are gonna be falling in love with AI. I mean, they already are. And I think for a lot of people, as time goes on, let's say showing love through the token, or buying collectibles, or let's say using the strip club example, that's gonna be, you could say, enough gratification for somebody because they had that interaction. Even if it is digital, people are still going to feel some sort of bond or connection, regardless. So I am very curious to see where where the future will go as far as this. So have to say, Pauline, it was absolutely great having you coming back onto the show and learning a bit more about what Frosty Whale has been up to. And seemingly you're at the forefront of the evolution of human relationships. That's got to be a very exciting thing, and I'm very curious to see how that's going to pan out. And yes, hope you keep me updated on that. Sure.
Thank you, Adam, for having me. This was a great pleasure to talk to you. And
Thank you.
yeah, we are doing our best to be at the forefront of this revolution that is already happening. But
Right.
I will keep you updated, and hopefully
Yeah.
we have another podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, if there's any more interesting stories of men or women falling in love with AI bots, please keep me
Yeah, I will.
posted. I always
I'll keep
love
you
a
updated on that.
funny or interesting story.
We are trying to track all those cases. Not
Right.
that many of them yet reported worldwide, but I guess that it will be changing very quickly, because AI is advancing rapidly.
Right. Paulina, did we lose you again? All right. Let's see what's going on. Yes, as you were saying, you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So yeah, I believe that advancing AI is advancing rapidly. There are many more case studies how AI can be used, and also in this influencer fan economy, in the creator economy. So I believe that very interesting times ahead of us. And
Sure.
yeah, so let's see where those virtual relationships will get us at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
I'm very curious to see how that's going to evolve, even as we get, later into the year, because things are just changing so rapidly. So, I'm looking forward to having you come back on, and perhaps as a co-host with perhaps another subject matter expert to maybe expand on this, because listen, this is very real. It's happening in real time. And listen, this stuff is, let's say in the future, but and some of it is happening before our eyes, but a lot of these things are going to be very normal very soon. So, even as I laugh or you laugh about, a woman falling in love with an AI or a man falling in love with an AI, this is going to be pretty normal in the next few years. And people are not going to really seem either entertained, or, it's not even going to be like a stigma, I think, for men. I think it could really go there.
Definitely, definitely agree with that. And as I've mentioned before, like those women in China fell in
Right.
love, but a lot of men in China will have this problem that they will not be able to find a real partner in the real world. So this will become a mainstream, not not because not because like people like talking
Right.
to AI, but maybe they would just not have another choice for talking to a real person or being with a real person.
Do you hear that, men? Competing with AI is going to be a very, very real thing. Just right around the corner. Wow. But like I said, it was an absolute pleasure having you back on again, and I'm looking forward to picking up from this convo. The next time around, and like I said, there's going to be a lot more of this, and it's going to be really a lot more of a normal thing throughout society. It's listen, it is what it is, and these things are very, very real.
Definitely, totally agree with you.
Yeah. So I think let's keep our eyes open and see where all of this goes. I think all of us are going to be in for a ride and a surprise as time goes on, to say the least.
Yes, but one small thing, we've been talking a lot about AI, but we are actually on our platform, we have a combination of both AI and Web3. And
Sure,
although it's crypto winter, I still believe that Web3 is the way to go. And
sure,
yeah, I hope that not only will AI progress, but also there will be some interesting case studies how Web3 can um, solve some problems, or like can be used like real case studies, because I believe that we haven't seen that many of them yet. In the previous crypto summer there was a lot of trading, a lot of speculation, a lot
sure.
of bubbles, but yeah, but let's see where blockchain is heading to.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is here to stay, and I think a lot of it is misunderstood. So
Yes.
I think there's going to be a lot of both good and bad surprises. Going forward, you're going to see a lot of the great potential for problem solving with a lot of AI and with a lot of blockchain technology, and then on the flip side, I think in the very near future, and I think we're already seeing it, the great capacity for harm and damage too. So you know, hopefully things stay more on the good side than the bad.
Hopefully.
Again, it was an absolute pleasure, and looking forward to catching up with you soon.
Thank you so much, Adam. Take
Anytime.
care.
Yep. Enjoy the weekend.
You
All
too.
right. And that concludes episode 1 of season 2. Good night, everybody.